Sonny Melendrez, Sonny Radio, sonnyradio.com.
Hello. I'm Sonny Melendrez, and welcome to the positive side of the radio spectrum. This is the all-new Sonny Melendrez Show. Now, each week we strive to bring you inspiration and entertainment through storytelling, fascinating guests, exclusive celebrity interviews, and it's all delivered with lots of enthusiasm. With that in mind, let's get on with the show.
Sonny Radio, sonnyradio.com.
In the late 1980s and early 90s, my radio home in San Antonio was KTFM. Every morning I was surrounded by the joyful talent of Elizabeth Ruiz, Cindy Cassiano, Lisa, and so many more who would join in our mission to wake up the city with a smile. Well, my first choice to be our official weather person on the show was a most popular and personable meteorologist. It is my pleasure to welcome my dear friend, Albert Flores.
Hi.
Albert, why don't you explain what your setup was for the weathercast back then?
The rig was, I asked him if I could do that because I was on the news at 10 o'clock at night and I get home
on Channel 5 on KNS.
On Ken's 5. And I thought, gosh, to drive all the way to Eisenhower from where I live just wasn't appealing. And so, but I thought, I still need to go in a couple of days a week.
Sure.
So we rigged up, actually the KTFM people rigged up a balanced phone line straight to my house, went in the sidewall in my bedroom. And then on my nightstand was a mic much like what we're using today, really nice mic with a little switch that said you're on. And that's how I did it. So I had a little radio, a little small radio with headsets that I would listen off air to what we were doing. And it sounded like I was there. It was just amazing.
Yeah, it really was. But we had a full crew. We had like about 6-7 people in the studio already.
Yeah.
But I remember one morning you had had a late night because of the weather.
Yes.
Because you did the 10 o'clock news on Channel 5. And we kind of connected with you. And then I think you fell asleep.
Oh, yes. Yes, I remember. And it was, we were supposed to do another cut-in.
Right.
But I just totally zonked out. and because, you opened the mic.
Because you would actually do the reports lying down in your under the covers.
Yeah, I'd be like, honey, don't snore.
Yeah.
And she was oblivious. She was asleep.
Your wife, Yolanda.
My wife. And I would roll over closer, and I had my cheat sheet of all the weather. And I'd do it laying down. And I'd tell people I'm the only guy who's making money laying down that's legitimate, And then I would put a timer again for another 10 minutes or something, go back to sleep.
Yeah.
But this, I just didn't wake up. And I had moved the microphone out of the bedroom into the den. I don't remember why I did that. But, and so, I just slept through it. And you said, hey, we've been listening to your kids for a while. And I'm like, what? And then I looked out, and sure enough, the mic was on.
Yeah.
And they were talking away. And I thought, geez, okay, I'm never doing that one again.
Well, see, that's the great thing about the kind of radio that we did, is that everything turned into a bit.
Yes.
Regardless.
Yes.
You could do no wrong,
I put Matthew on the radio once. I had a car phone. I thought that was really cool back in the day.
Yeah.
And I said, well,
how old was he?
Oh, he was in elementary school. And so you said, well, let me talk to Matthew. And I talked, he got on the radio with you over my phone. And you asked him, what's Dad wearing? And he told you he's in pajamas. I was in my pajamas driving him to school.
Yeah.
And I had to do a cut-in, so I thought, let's do it over the phone. It'll be fine.
Sure.
So our lives were an open book.
Oh, they really were. Yeah. I remember when Linda brought Joseph, who I think was about 3, to the station for the first time. I was holding him, and I said, Joseph, you want to say anything? And I was hoping he would say goodbye. You want to say goodbye? And he leans into the microphone and he says, boobies.
Well, the stuff that comes out of kids, you never.
Oh yeah, you can't
know.
write that. And it was that was the end of the show. So good night, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
That was it. But we would do so many great things out and about, and that was a great thing about remote broadcasting.
Yeah.
But do you remember the night that there was either a meteor storm?
It was a comet.
What was it? It was a comet?
Haley's
Comet. Yes.
Yeah.
The comet.
Right. Yeah. Well, we were talking about it. And the thing about Haley's Comet was it wasn't spectacular. It was a dot.
Yes.
You think a comet, well, it's going to just light up the sky.
Right.
So literally, it comes by like every 100 years. And so you were saying something like, I don't know, I can't see it. It's not. I said, I know exactly where it is.
Yeah.
And then you volunteered and said, anybody who wants to see Halley's Comet, come by the station tomorrow morning.
Right.
And Albert's going to show us where it is. Oh, Jesus, okay. Could you, I mean, it was hundreds of people.
Oh, at least 300 cars.
Cars lined
and
up.
we went out to this place that
Oh,
was
out in the middle of nowhere.
In the middle of nowhere. But we said where we were going to go, but you had to come to the station first.
Right.
And then it was like a caravan.
It was a caravan. And I was driving up to the station and I went, what's going on? There's all these cars lined up down Eisenhower for like a mile.
Oh, yeah.
And they were all waiting on me. And then we took off out there.
And we went out to the boonies. I mean, it was pitch dark. There was
it
nothing.
Had to be.
Yes.
Had to be pitch.
Yes.
Yeah. So we had babies that their parents were taking to say, they saw Halley's Comet like they had any clue. And then we had a lady who was like 90 that said, I remember I was here the last time Halley's came out.
I think I remember
old.
that. Yeah.
And then we had everybody in between. So I would walk from couple to couple to couple, and I'd say, okay, look up, look down. Okay, see that little tiny, that's it. And then I go to the next person and the next person.
You were like Haley's tour guide.
I was. People didn't know what it was. And then the police were like, we're blocking the road.
Yeah.
And they were handing tickets out if people didn't leave.
Yeah.
Because it was blocking Fisher Road or something.
You can't beat it.
No, we did some crazy things that I think people still today wouldn't believe we did.
Yes.
Because it's just not done that way anymore.
Those were really the last great days of the radio type of program that you could do. And literally had so many people involved just in one show.
Yes.
And you don't find that anymore.
No.
Yeah. So take me back to when you were a kid. I remember that your superhero, if I recall, was
Zorro.
Out of the night, when the full moon is bright, comes a horseman known as Zorro.
He didn't fly. He didn't have fire coming out of his hands. He was just a guy that wore a cool black outfit with a black cape and the black, and he did good. And he rode his horse. I couldn't remember the name of the horse. Yeah, I would run around the backyard, with black pants and a T-shirt and a black cape. I want to say my mom made me.
Yes.
And, and I was Zorro. And so I have pictures of me as Zorro, and that's kind of been my alter ego, I guess. I don't know.
So at one point, where did broadcasting start?
Well, it was in high school, and I want to thank my band director, who's still alive, still kicking, great guy. His name was Charles Arzuaga. I wasn't sure what kind of name that was, but he's Hispanic.
Uh-huh.
And he said we were doing, how bands have little barbecues, barbecue plates, and all kinds of little fundraisers for the band to buy.
Sure.
Okay. So
to
we're
buy
having,
equipment and stuff.
Yeah. So we're having a Saturday at the high school barbecue. And he says, you know what? Here's some stuff. We need some announcements for people to buy stuff while they're here. So get on the PA system of the school. He opened up the principal's office. Where they do the announcements. He said, get on the microphone and read this stuff. And that's how he was like planting the seed. So I got up there and I started doing, hey, a chicken plate for 55 cents or whatever.
How old were you?
16, 17.
Yeah.
And so, I'd come out for a while and people would say, you sound good. That's really, you're good at that. And that was kind of, he just kind of threw me in. And I did it for a few hours in the afternoon. And then it kind of caught on and people had heard about it. So when the school had a variety show, I was the MC. And it just kind of caught on that I was the voice of the school or whatever. And then I thought, I want to be a DJ. I really think this is great. So you remember, I think Kono had the mobile little units where they'd take them out and park them on a street corner and do remote. Right. And it was like a little trailer.
This is KONO radio.
Yeah, yes.
The Alamobile. It was half a motorhome and half studio.
Yes.
And actually had glass and everything. And
all the way around it.
So instead of the DJ going out and introducing music from there and they're playing it back at the radio station, they actually had the whole control.
The whole setup.
Deal setup,
it was a big trailer. So when I'd find out that the Alamobile was going to be somewhere, I'd show up and I'd just watch with awe that this guy was talking and setting up records like we used to, do.
Yeah.
And I thought, that is amazing. So I kind of put a little sign up on the glass and said, I want to be a disc jockey.
Oh, really?
And so the guy let me in. I wish I could tell you who it was. I'd love to say it was Bruce Hathaway, but
maybe Don Cowser?
Yes, probably so.
Here's the craziest thing. I did the same thing. And I can remember going to Alamo Plaza during Fiesta Week. They were there all week. And after school, from St. Michael's School, which is like 5 blocks away, I would walk and just stay there for like 3 or 4 hours.
Yes.
Yeah, the same thing.
Just mesmerized
Amazing.
by what they could do. So, Don might have started a couple of careers.
Yeah, really.
Unknowingly. So,
Yes.
really nice person, walked in and watched them. They'd be talking to you, then they'd say, hang on, and they'd turn around and they'd intro a song. And I'm like, how does he keep both things going in his head?
Yes.
And the commercials and all that stuff. So, very fascinated, wanted to do that.
Yes.
So I thought, okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get into it. And my senior year at Harlandale, they had a big scholarship that was put out by a group called the BBC, Bilingual Bicultural Coalition on Mass Media. Fancy word for basically there are no Hispanics on the radio or on television, and we're suing everybody. And that's what happened. They went to all the big stations, television mostly, and said, you don't have a brown face on the air.
Really?
This is San Antonio, and we have a 63% Hispanic. And if you don't do something about that, we'll go for your license.
Wow.
And so everybody had to do something. So Ken said, we'll put a Hispanic on. I remember who he was. He was a firefighter who was part-timing. And we'll give away a scholarship.
To do what?
Well, the firefighter guy was like a reporter.
Okay.
And then they were going to give away a full boat $10,000 scholarship, which was quite a bit in the day.
Sure.
72, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, sure.
So a guy comes to the high school and says, I've got some scholarships. And he worked for the BBC. And he said, this one's available, and this one from Ken's is available. And I went, I want to try out for that one. So we filled out the forms. He helped me do it. We applied. Then I didn't hear anything, and I was getting ready to graduate. So finally I get a phone call, and they say, listen, you've made the top 5 of the entire city to apply for this scholarship. So meet at Ken's TV on this date and this time. And I said, okay. So I showed up. There were 4 other applicants. One was Henry Bonilla, Congressman Bonilla.
Wow.
Yeah, and myself, and I couldn't remember who the other 3 were. So we all sat there in our little suits, and we went in and met the GM and all the big wigs from Ken's.
And Henry Bonilla was also a student.
Yeah, he was graduating same time I was.
Yes.
We were both going to go to UT. And so we each had our 20 minutes, whatever it was, with this committee, and they said, okay, thanks. And we all walked out and got to know each other a tiny bit. Mm-hmm. And then I got the call the next morning saying, you got the scholarship.
Wow.
And I went, I'm graduating tonight. And I said, could we come up with a piece of paper or something so I get awarded that?
Yeah, sure.
And they said, yeah, sure, we can print up something. So I went to the station, picked up my little paper, and took it to the school and said, tonight when we graduate, I'm getting this. And they went, what? Because you took everybody else's scholarships, including the valedictorian, was less than what I was getting as a single scholarship. Mm-hmm. So it freaked a lot of people out when I went across the stage at Municipal Auditorium. and who's this little skinny guy with pimples with no voice gets the biggest scholarship of anybody, probably to date.
Wow.
And then, it was history from there. I worked at Ken's 5 for my year between senior in high school and freshman in college. I said, I want to be an intern. They'd never had an intern. And they said, what do interns do? And I said, I don't know, but I just hang out. And they said,
there was no such thing as an intern back then.
No, there wasn't.
Yeah.
And they didn't pay. And I said, that's fine. I'll get up here. So, my freshman year was at UT and entered into the broadcast journalism school. The funny part was I spent my summers as a reporter for Ken's 5. So the curriculum at UT was like boring. I'd already done all that. And I had the real life experience of, I was given a news unit and I would work from midnight to 8 in the morning. I was the only reporter out there. So anything that happened overnight, fires, shootings, explosions, I had to go get it. I had to go get it, get the information, get the video.
Now, did you have a crew with you? Or
No.
It was just you?
Me.
You had the camera?
Yeah, I had the camera and the car, and it was an old Ford Galaxy.
How old are you now?
18. Yeah, 18. I mean, you know what? I don't know anything outside of the south side of San Antonio because I grew up there. And so I'm all of a sudden given the entire city. There's no GPS. I've got a map, a book, that I'm looking up streets.
Yes.
I have a giant Galaxy like a police car.
Yes.
And it has police radios all in it.
Yes.
Yeah, and they said if the sound comes from the upper right, it's the police. If it comes from the lower left, it's the fire department going on. And I can't. It's gibberish. And I'm like, I can't hear an alarm in this mess. But you know what? You'd train your ear.
Sure.
And you'd hear stuff. So that summer was an eye-opener because I'm driving around in this news unit. It says Ken's on the side.
Sure.
And I hear beep, 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 regular alarm, and they say a shooting at the Godfather Lounge. And I'm thinking, that's like the next exit.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll be right there. So I stomp on the gas, and I'm flying down 35, and I get off on New Braunfels, I think. And as I pull up to the Godfather Lounge, they're still shooting.
Oh, no.
Yes. And I get up there, and there's pow, pow. And the owner standing outside is shooting at these guys running up.
My God.
And I go, I think I'm too early. So I just ducked down in the news unit and waited for the shooting to stop.
Really?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
This was fun for an 18-year-old. But I thought this isn't a lifestyle, to be up and that kind of stuff.
Not to mention the safety factor.
Yeah, bullets flying, things like that. Driving 110 miles an hour down the road. So I said, I really got to find something else here. Well, if you think about it, every reporter in the newsroom wants to be the anchor guy.
Sure.
They think they can do that.
Sure.
That's easy.
Well, and also the anchor guy was a reporter.
Precisely.
Yes.
And that's where you glean your anchors from, is from your good reporters.
Right.
So I thought, okay, I've got like 30 reporters, and my chances of ever getting on that set are pretty slim. But I went downstairs, and you know him, Judd Ashmore.
Sure.
Was the famed weather guy in the market.
Both radio and TV.
Yes.
Yes.
And so he was doing weather at Ken's. And he was just a funny guy, as he is now. God bless him. He's like 112 or something, but a classy guy. Love him to death.
Yes.
And so he said, hey. And so he kind of, taught me what he was doing. He was an Air Force guy where he got his training. And he said, hey, man, this is a great deal. He goes, like, nobody knows when I come in. Nobody knows when I leave. Because I'm in the studio, and they're upstairs on the second floor. And he said, I'm pretty much my own boss. And that sounded real good to me. So I went into meteorology school and got my second degree in meteorology and applied at Ken's, and they went, no, we have this guy already. We're going to try to find another Judd Ashmore. Well, they didn't. They found Maclovio Perez, and Maclovio was doing weather at Ken's 5 at the time.
Yes.
I took off then when I graduated to some smaller markets like Corpus Christi and stuff. And so when Maclovio got offered the job in L.A., he took off, and then they found me. They were looking for where I was and called me up and said, hey, there's an opening now for weather at Ken's, and what do you think? And I said, yeah, are you kidding? I mean, I interned there during college. So I took the day off from work at the station job I had in Corpus Christi and called in sick for the 6 o'clock, caught a plane. As a matter of fact, I was heading out for the plane, and they called my house. Yolanda picked it up, and then she ran out the door, and she said, that's Ken's on the phone. And they said, forget it, don't come. And I said, I left. You didn't catch me, I'm gone. Because there were no cell phones in the day. So I jumped on the car, drove to the airport in Corpus, caught the plane. As I'm catching the plane, going to the airport, I hear, Beijing, Albert Flores, and I just ignored it and got on the plane, went to Ken's 5, showed up, asked for the news director, and he says, we changed our minds. We tried reaching you. And I said, well, there's no way to reach me. So I said, can't I just audition? And they said, sure. The rest is history.
Wow.
So I auditioned.
What a great story.
I auditioned anyway. Chris and Dan knew me as the kid intern with long hair. And I'm in a 3-piece suit. 3 years later.
Sure.
And so we had a good banter already. And they said, well, we'll think about it. I left. They called me in Corpus and said, you have the job.
That is fantastic. And how long were you at Ken's?
24 years.
24 years. And then of late, we saw you on Channel 4 on WAI. How long there?
7 years. So, OAI called me up and said, look, we got an opening in mornings. You probably don't want to do it, but, and I thought, I miss it. Yeah,
Sure.
I'll do
It's in your blood.
Yeah. So I spoke to them, and they said, look, let's just be real easy about this. We're going to put you on for a week. We'll pay you X dollars. And if people like you, you're in. If they don't like you, you're out, and we'll give you the cash. And I said, sure. So I went home. I hadn't done weather for 10 years.
Yeah.
So all the equipment's changed,
Sure.
So they said, we'll give you a producer to help you put graphics together. So I started on Monday, scared out of my mind. It had been 10 years. And I did Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday morning. By Wednesday, the news director says, hey, what are you doing later today? And I said, I don't know. What am I doing later today? He said, why don't you come by my house? Let's have some drinks and talk. And I got offered a 6-figure salary.
Wow.
To do mornings.
Wow.
And I went, wow. Well, yeah, I'll sign it. So I signed a contract. And before that completed, I was offered the afternoon.
That is terrific.
Show.
So the big question, and I know a lot of your fans are wanting me to ask this, what are you doing now?
Well, it's kind of a combination of things. Mostly retired, ask Yolanda. I nap a lot. I'm an old guy. I have a puppy by the name of Waldo and Wally. We call him Wallace Google.
He's a pug.
He's a pug.
Yeah.
And then I have a video company that I'd had for a while just because I really love the creative of editing and soundtracking.
Sure.
And so I've got all the stuff I need, video, audio, editing, lights, everything. And I love to sit with a client with a clean sheet of paper and say, what are we doing? Whether it's a TV commercial, Sonny, or it's a training film, or we're doing a lot of social media stuff, So I'm doing kind of a little bit of everything.
Sure. Now, if somebody wants to hire your services, is there a website they can go to?
Yes, they can go to infinitymedia.today, and that's where they can find me. I'm kind of all over the place, really.
Well, listen, let me just tell you this. The fact that you are still in the business tells you that you're a true broadcaster. And once a broadcaster, always a broadcaster.
Always.
It's just it's not a question of what's changed. It's a question of what's next.
Yes, and you have to be, as you know, flexible.
Absolutely.
You have to toss the old stuff, get some new equipment. You always have to reinvent yourself so that you can adjust.
I agree.
To the way things are. Radio is not as it was. We, as you said very effectively, we lived, I think, and when it was the pinnacle of radio, when you could do theater of the mind and you could have an audience and people who felt you were a dear friend.
Sure. Simply
by listening on the radio. And television, back in the day when Chris Maru and Dan Cook and myself did television, we approached it the same way. It was the chit-chat, the very casual. Everybody loved Dan Cook for good reason.
Dan Cook was a sports guy on Channel 5, the CBS affiliate, for many, many years, and literally was just like you say, he was a stalwart.
An icon.
Yes.
Yeah, he was an icon. He came up with the phrase, the opera ain't over till the fat lady sings. He said that on the air. Yogi Berra was in town to give a talk, heard Dan say it because he knew Dan from all the years he'd done it, and then just repeated it.
And on the last show, it was his last show, and everybody was talking about it like for weeks. It was going to be his last show. You went to the program director, or the news director, and what did you say?
I said, we have to have a fat lady sing. We just have to. We have to put her in the Viking garb with the metal things.
Yes.
And they went, no. And I said, what do you mean no? And they went, no, we would insult women. We would insult fat women. And I go, you don't think they know they're fat? I said, this is an icon retiring. And they went, no, that's not happening. We would insult so many people. I said, it's a lady in a Viking outfit. I said, I argued with them till 4:30.
Oh.
And the show was at 5.
Yes.
And they were like, and finally I said, look, let them sue me. Okay, this is I had the lady already in the studio. I already paid for her. I already bought her costume. She was a real opera singer. And Maru says, I'm with you. I said, okay. And so at the end of the 10 o'clock show, she sang.
Yes.
We had like 15 seconds left.
Oh, my goodness.
And I just pushed her on the set
yes.
and went, go.
Yes.
And she's, whoa. oh, she starts belting,
and then just cut away.
Yes,
that was it.
It wasn't very long at all.
No,
it wasn't very long at all. But she was cranking it, and me
goodness.
and Dan were standing there, and he was a wonderful guy.
Oh yeah,
Dan was about as sincere a person as you would want. You're in the sweetest guy ever.
Yeah.
I was so proud to be a pallbearer when he was buried.
Oh, my goodness.
Maru was on one end, I was on the other end.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. How beautiful.
Beautiful.
Well, Albert, congratulations on everything
you.
you've done, and I look forward to the future and to many more conversations like this and more fun.
Yes.
And this is a great time to be alive.
Thank you. It's been an honor to work with you and to be your friend.
Likewise, Albert. Well, that's my visit with Albert Flores. You can find out more information about Albert along with a link to his website at sonnyradio.com/show. Until next time, I'm Sonny Melendrez, and I leave you with the words of Albert's alter ego, Don Diego de la Vega, who said, "If you cannot clothe yourself in the skin of a lion, put on that of a fox."
Well, from now on, I shall be Zorro, the fox.
Log on and you feel good.